So to start off, I'm just cutting the cake to the size, leveling it, and frosting it. Now, I actually made a mistake when I was making this template. I wasn't thinking about the overhang of the fondant being the whole box, so the letters look a little bit small, as you'll see later on, because the template is a little bit, I wasn't thinking about the full size of it, so I actually should have made the letters a little bit bigger. Just rolling out some fondant for the middle part, and to get this color I just have black and white fondant mixed together with a little bit of brown food coloring, and just measuring it to the size a little bit longer and taller as well.
Get down to the B side.
I just do some rough cuts, but to get a more level look, I just put it into the freezer for a few minutes to firm up and went back with an exacto knife to make it more flush. I'm rolling out the fondant for the top, and I just make sure it is a little bit bigger on all sides, just enough, make sure there's enough slack for the back and a little bit of overhang. To get this color, I used black and white fondant and a lot of brown food coloring, but I'd recommend just getting pre-dyed brown fondant. I had a really hard time getting this color. I still wasn't happy with it, so you'll see later on that I actually painted it with some brown food coloring. Here I actually took a second cake board and placed it on top and just flipped it over and carefully peeled it off. And this is where I get my more precise cuts to be the correct size.
Get down to the B side.
I just kind of took my time with this and cut off as many pieces until I was happy with it. And now I'm rolling out the fondant for the bottom part of the cover. I used a ruler to make sure it was long enough on both sides and longer, and I also used a ruler to make a sharp flat edge to sit against the cake easier. I took a little bit of piping jelly and just stuck it to the sides. I just used a ruler, but you can use anything with that can create a line into the fondant, and I just used that to line it up and cut off all the excess that I was happy with and that lined up. So here I actually took a little bit of petal dust and a little bit of alcohol and started to pat the color on with some paper towel, but I wasn't really happy with how it was turning out, so I decided to take some brown food coloring and do the same thing with diluting it with alcohol and just putting that all over. Earlier I had cut out the letters out of this edible glittery sugar sheet, and I just used the template that I had made before, and I'm just using an exacto knife again to cut out the letters. used the template to just sort of get the placement correct and just marked into the other letters to know where to sort of put them, and just took my time until I was happy with it. To create the part that says Urban Decay on the front, I took the template just to get the placement correctly, and then I'm using this little sculpting tool to sort of indent into the fondant. Took it off and then just used some golden luster dust with a little alcohol and just kind of did a couple layers and slowly painted it on. It's a little bit rough and messy looking, but it worked. I wasn't happy with how tacky it looked with all of that liquid, so I actually took a dry paper towel and just kind of took away the tackiness. And I should have done this before I put the letters on. I wish I had, but I didn't think of it until afterwards. So if you do put the color on in the first place, I would say take away the tackiness. And then I kind of smeared some of it onto the letters. I'm a little bit messy, so I just fixed that with a little bit of the golden luster dust. Now, I forgot to film me actually painting on this back logo, but I just used that same technique to put it on there, and this is how it turned out. It's a little bit messy, but you know.
Get down to the baseline.